And let's try to make the villain.
Yep.
Let's make a movie about Maleficent where she's the sympathetic. And it's
Exactly.
like we're trying to invert the loves and loyalties of children so that they love darkness. What are some of your favorite comic books? And so,
Ooh.
like, we can go into like independent stuff where it's like a story with a beginning, middle, and end. But really, what I'm getting at is like when you were coming up and you were kind of like, because for me, comic books were kind of like, I think young men or boys, we craft our who we think is a hero. We kind of like emulate what we want to be based on our heroes, and like literally, comic books are like different flavors of heroes.
Yes.
So, what were some of your comic books that you loved growing up, and like who are your favorite
It's
characters?
funny you say that because what we were talking about before is the downfall of American comic books.
Yeah,
It led me to manga.
yeah.
Because even back in the day, I did not like a lot of the direction that the American comic books were going, and I went to manga instead. So I have two manga that I really loved, and I have one comic book character that I really like. The comic book character is from Marvel, and I really like his story simply because it's very original, and I like how he came about, and that's Cable.
Okay.
Cable, whose father is Cyclops.
Is
And
his mother Jean Grey?
yeah,
Okay, yeah,
yeah. So he's one of the coolest. Even ever since I was a kid, I just like first I liked it as a design. He
yeah,
got the metallic arm.
yeah.
I got some facts on him. I think I wrote like what he actually does. He's like Cable is the son of Cyclops, and Madeline Pryor, a clone of Jean Grey. See, I
Oh,
messed
dang.
that up.
Okay.
By the villain Minister Sinister, one of my favorite villains too.
Yeah, Mr.
As a
Sinister's
baby, he
cool.
was infected with the techno-organic virus by Apocalypse, which threatened to turn him into a machine. He was sent from the future, so that's one of the cool storylines. It's one of those time travel storylines.
Yeah,
He's a really cool character.
yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil it for everybody, but he's cool.
I remember in the X-Men cartoon, it's kind of seemed like, you have your core X-Men guys.
Yeah.
You got Cyclops and Wolverine, you got Gambit, you got Storm, you got Beast, you got Nightcrawler. But then like as the story went on, then they had guys coming back from the future. Because it
Yeah.
was like the future's totally
Yeah.
messed up. We got to go back and like fix
Yep.
it. And then I remember Cable was one of them. It wasn't Bishop. Like,
Bishop was one of
dude,
my favorite black
Bishop.
characters.
Yeah, well, he was like the only cool black guy in
He
X-Men,
had a
right?
Jerry curl. Do you remember?
This is the only dude who can stop gay Superman.
Let your soul glow. Yeah, I remember, dude, he had the Jerry curl when he first came out.
Yeah.
It's funny to think because having a Jerry curl is a really big 80s and 70s and 80s thing.
Yeah.
And he's from the future, so maybe they brought it back.
Yeah, well, everything goes in cycles, right? But no, Bishop was very cool. And like
Yeah.
Cable kind of had this like grizzled war veteran thing, which is
Yep.
like it was a nice refreshing flavor for X-Men because so much
Yeah.
of X-Men was very loud costumes. Like the Wolverine had these
Yep.
big goofy fins on his head. They wore these loud colors and like Jubilee's shooting out fireworks
Yeah.
everywhere. And then it's like Cable comes in. He's like, I've seen
Yeah.
some stuff. He's got like a scar over his eye.
I
Like,
like that.
whoa, this guy's a grown up,
Yeah, he
It's a
was
little
like-
bit of like Trunks meets like Gladiator, like Maximus,
You are 100% right because the reason why I liked it because he was so grim and dark. It was like him being the way he was when he came back from the future told you, dang, the future's dark.
Yeah,
I remember when they went like even on the show, which was really good show.
Yeah.
The old X-Men that they redid, and it's pretty decent.
But dude, that was just like the standard quality
Yeah.
of cartoons back
Yeah, 'cause
then.
the Batman was really
I
good,
can't
too.
really say what cartoons is now. I would like to say like, oh, everything sucks now because I'm an old man yelling at the
Yeah,
clouds.
they
But
all suck.
I
They
can't
do.
really speak to. I don't know if cartoons are good or bad. But I remember when we were kids, it was like there was a lot of good cartoons.
Really? Do you remember? Here's one that nobody ever brings up: Gargoyles.
Yes, dude. Gargoyles was
That
good.
was great.
Have you ever heard of something in script writing called a Xanatos Gambit?
No.
So I learned about this when I was doing the anime show. And a Xanatos Gambit is Xanatos is the name of the villain from Gargoyles. The guy with like the
snap.
long hair, like the 90s
Yeah,
villain.
I
you know?
barely remember, but I just remember this
The Xanatos Gambit is when he puts the heroes, he's 3 steps ahead, and he puts the heroes in a compromised position where no matter what choice they make, he wins. So they either
Mm.
betray their principles or they just die or whatever, right? So it's like
okay.
the Xanatos Gambit is like no matter what you do, the villain
Yeah,
wins.
he
And so they
outsmarted you,
called it
yeah.
in screenwriting like a Xanatos Gambit. I was like, that's from a kids cartoon called Gargoyles. Like it's cool, man. They put
That
like a lot of thought and
cartoon was
effort.
very
Like the
good.
animated Batman show, like you said, that was
Yeah.
solid.
I can name my top 3 kids cartoons other than Ninja Turtles, which I just like because I was a little kid.
Mhm.
But the Batman cartoon, the Spider-Man cartoon, Gargoyles, and X-Men.
Yeah.
All 4 of those, excellent. I would rate them all A. The writing, everything about them was great.
Did you like Batman Beyond? You remember when that one came out?
That's another one.
Yeah,
that
dude.
came a little bit later.
Yeah, it did. But
But
it
it was
was
really
like
good.
it was a unique so to go off on a tangent here. I'm not like the biggest Star Wars guy, but I respect that it
Yeah.
was like a
Not
very
anymore.
it was a very important thing in the 70s. Like
Yes.
like my stepdad loves Star Wars. It's important to him. Like Luke Skywalker is like this like we're talking about who is your hero that like helped you. Luke Skywalker I think was that for a lot of young
Yeah.
men.
It's sad what they did. Look how they massacred my boy.
Right. But
They did him bad.
obviously Star Wars got wrecked
Yes.
with the most recent 3 movies, the way that Kathleen
my
Kennedy got
gosh.
her mitts on it and changed it. And what it speaks to is there was not a respect for the original
Yeah.
story. It
But
was
didn't I
like
say that?
I can use this and I can grab the reins of this and twist it to my own narrative so I can make people question objective truth or like, you know, truth, good, and beauty.
I think they're doing that on purpose. They take the things you love the most,
Right.
and they use it against you because they know. Here's what liberals know, and everybody who knows liberals knows this: they can't create anything on their own. Everything they create sucks. They try to create a character and it's some bilingual, sex, gender fluid person. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
I'm a liberal and I'm really gay.
Get out of my house!
It's not only it's not that they can't just that they cannot create their own thing. They counterfeit God's creations.
True.
So any good story, we're kind of like taking little bits and flavors of it from God's story, and we're making something beautiful. Of
Even
it.
the fact that there's a good and evil comes
Right.
from God.
Exactly. So I don't want to say the right, like the political right, but like Christians, basically, like people who believe in truth, in an absolute truth, in right and wrong, good and evil, can write a good story. It doesn't necessarily mean it's automatically going to be a good story, but
Yeah.
if you want to subvert all that and like, well, what if the Wicked Witch of the West was actually the hero of the story? What if actually How to Train Your Dragon? What if dragons are actually like puppy dogs? What if there are pets and like like we're subverting everything? What if black is white and darkness is light? And let's try to make the villain. Let's make a movie about Maleficent where she's the sympathetic. And it's like we're trying to invert the loves and loyalties of children so that they love darkness and that they're suspicious of light.
Them.
Right.
Most of all, what they're trying to do is not say that good is evil and evil is good, but they're trying to confuse you as to what evil is even
right,
good
yeah.
is.
They want to get away. They want
Yeah.
to do away with the categories.
Yep. They
Yeah,
don't want
exactly.
you
Yeah,
to.
you're
They
right.
they
You're
don't.
right.
They want the good and the bad to be whatever they tell you it is.
Right.
They don't even want it's not that they'll have a whole show and make it where it's like everything that you think is bad, like torturing people, is now good. And
Right. No. Yeah. You're
they're
right.
not
You're
that
right.
overt.
That's a good correction.
What
Yes.
they're saying is we want you to believe what we say is good for now.
Yeah.
And when we change that, you better change.
And
too.
everything is fluid. So
Yep.
stay updated for our next change as we
exactly.
And that brings me back to Batman Beyond, which is why it's different than Star Wars. Whereas Star Wars spit in the face of their fans because they didn't respect the original property. They viewed it as a vehicle to shove their narrative to
Yeah.
people. What Batman
That's
Beyond
disgusting.
did was they loved Batman.
Yep.
And they revered the character of Bruce Wayne. Now he's old, now he's decrepit, now he's crippled, and he uses a cane. But he even though I don't think in Batman Beyond he has any children, he cares about Gotham. He has skin in the game. He instead of just retreating back into Wayne Manor and getting old and dying with Catwoman or whatever, he's training the next generation.
He took an apprentice.
Exactly.
And what he did was he still cared enough. But the thing I like is they show the realism of he's this bitter old man now,
Right.
but he still has this fatherly instinct
Yes,
to
yes.
train this young man.
And they didn't make him into a bubbling buffoon.
Yeah.
And the young kid is all cool and
Yeah.
making fun of him like
the
Homer
kid is
Simpson.
naive.
Yeah.
And he's trying to learn, but he has high tech stuff to help him now.
Right, yeah. And sometimes Bruce will whack the
Yeah.
kid with his cane and be like, all right. And you know that like Bruce is still like a
He's
force
still
to be
got it in
read.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that he's old and broken down. Yeah. So
I
like
thought if they don't look, and you know what the biggest disservice is? DC has not made that into a movie yet because they can't, because I don't think they have the moral guidelines to do it justice. I really don't think they could. Like if you look at their recent stuff, it's all trying to capitalize on like old stuff, but I don't know if they have the merit or the character to really make Batman Beyond and give it justice. I would be so upset if they made it and they put some woke crap in
oh,
there.
for sure. Yeah. It's you're in a bad spot where you don't trust DC Comics
Oh,
to
they
make
suck.
a DC story.
Yeah.
Like I can't
Look what
trust
they
you
did.
with your own
Did
IP.
did you see what they did to the last Joker?
No, I didn't.
I didn't even see. I'm not gonna pay my money for it, but I looked at some reviews and they made it into a musical.
Really?
They made Joker 2 into a musical where Joker's fluttering around, singing about his feelings. Lady Gaga's in there. She's a Satanist, by the way. Lady Gaga's in there, dancing around, talking about. They're singing songs. They have some musical numbers in it. What man wants to sing about a supervillain?
Yeah, no, I mean, we've put theater kids in charge of telling our story.
And they're all gay.